Sharpshot21 here again. We are doing an oil change on Wraith today. We're going to do it a little differently than usual. I will eventually, if I haven't already done one the standard way, but currently the car lift is occupied. That's Phantom. Anyways, so the car lift is occupied, and as you saw last week, I got a new toy. The EWK vacuum oil pump, oil extractor. So we're going to do the change with that. In addition to the oil extractor, you're going to need a couple other things. Those are a Wix filter or mini filter, depending. Wix is pretty much the same thing. It is part number 57512. These are a cartridge style filter, so if you're used to changing oil on most American and Japanese cars, it may look a little weird to you. We are going to need some oil. I prefer Castrol Edge, SAE 0W30, 0W40, 530, and 540, so long as they are API-SN. Our spec for this car, I prefer the OW40 because I can get that without too much difficulty. The Castrol Edge is a full synthetic. It's what we use in all of our cars basically, or the Castrol of some descriptor. We will need a 10mm socket to remove the coolant bottle so that we can get to the filter housing. For the filter, we will need a 27mm socket on an extension so that we can get the cover off the filter housing and then actually do the oil change. You guys know about the extractor already, so we're going to need that. And then for this car, we're going to need the longer thin whip with the spring steel guide in it. So now that that's all done, I'm going to go take the car for a quick spin, get it heated up, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll do an oil change real quick. So we're back. Coolant bottle is here. There's a 10mm right there. Actually, that's not a 10mm, that's like an 8. I was lied to. Go grab an 8. On some cars, it may be a 10. Just like on some cars, the drain plug is a Torx, it's an 8. And on other cars, the drain plug is an Allen, if you're going in that way. Alright, so that comes out. That comes off. And then way down, ow, in there is the filter housing. We're going to let things cool off for a couple of minutes here, just so I can get in there. I might grab the flathead to pull those too. That way we can see what we're doing. So let me do that and we'll let this cool off a little bit. Actually, well, that's cooling. We will pull the dipstick. clean it, as we do. I don't like these dipsticks. I plan on getting a replacement one, because that's hard to read. Now, this thing slots down in. Should be well into the oil pan at this point. Yep, we're well into the oil pan. So this plugs in here. And then we get to pumping, mainly because this air fitting doesn't fit my existing system. And oil comes out the top. It's the second rib. Pump a little more. Shuffle the pipe a little bit. That way it's not just sucking air. About halfway, and I was probably down a quart, maybe a little less, so 3 to 3.5. That's about right. But we'll try again, see how much more we can get. Probably should also crack that open. That's probably most of it, if not all. There will always be a little bit of oil left in the pan. In fact, I have heard, though, that this particular method generally gets more out. The other thing with the minis is It's a bottom mount drain plug, not a side or an end mount. That means there's a boss on the inside of the tank that leaves protrusion. Means you're never going to get all the oil out going that way. I'll leave this in. Go grab the flathead for that. Pull that hose out. Pop the oil cap out. Pull the filter. Pump one more time and go from there. So I'll be back in a minute. I'm back. I also grabbed some gloves in addition to a flathead screwdriver. Yeah, that's hot. Let me grab this guy. Engines are hot. Okay, I'm undoing that connector. Just because it's on a short lead. Now. Stupid deer flies. This bottle can come right over here. Stay out of the way. Now this comes out of the way. Now, see it down in there? That's the oil filter housing. Now it's going to be on there somewhat snug. Now that's loose. And out she comes. Filter's done. Now, inside your new filter box will be a little package. It will have a new O-ring and a new crush washer. The crush washer is for the drain plug on the bottom of the oil pan. Replace that every time. The O-ring goes right here. Same deal. Replace that every go-round. The filter just clips in. There's a little bit of oil left. That's okay. What we are going to do is take a pick, which I forgot to mention, slip it under, and off comes the O-ring. I'm not going to lose that. I'm going to save that just in case one filter doesn't come with it. And then you want to lubricate this with a little bit of the new oil. Oh, for crying out loud. Alright, these guys are just going nuts with this stuff now. There. Two sets of tamper-proofs, which is fine. Make sure it gets into this big groove. Now this is what the new cartridge filter should look like. There's no right way or wrong way to put it in. It's going to click into a spring-loaded boss in the top of the filter housing. At this point, we throw this back in, we top her up with oil. Well, actually, we check and make sure we got all of the oil out. Which it looks like we didn't, because there's always some in the filter housing and in the oil galleries around the filter housing, and just drain down from the rest of the engine. Stupid horseflies. Okay. How about the fourth rib, which is about where I thought we'd end up. We'll continue to let things settle for a few. Yeah, that appears to be everything. And that feels like 4 quarts. And I was pretty sure I was only half a quart low. So, we're in good shape. The one downside with the cartridge style filters, at least as far as I'm concerned, is the inability to pre-fill the filter cartridge. I'm going to put a glove on so I can hand thread this. Actually, I'm going to put both gloves on. There is a torque spec for this thing. I believe it's like 18.5 foot-pounds. I'm not going to do that because whilst I am usually a stickler for torque specs, oil settings are a little tricky. So what I'm going to do is watch it get snug and use judgment, which is what I encourage everyone to do. Okay, that's tight. See, it even says 25.5 Newton meters. And right there's it. That's it. Done. Now, this little nipple has a grommet down there, and it will generally find its own home once you get these two tabs lined up. So that's back on. Now it's just a matter of screwing the bottle back in. Don't go nuts on that one either. Just lightly torque it. And we can withdraw our hose. We will put our dipstick back in here. Let's not forget to put this back on. That would lead for a bad day. I had this off recently, so there's some silicone dielectric grease on there. Make sure that gets locked back in. Same with this guy. This is rather important. That's your vacuum hose for your brake system. There. Tighten those clamps back up. Then we'll get around to doing the oil refill. Now I always have a quart of oil in the back, and I try to check the oil level every couple of fill-ups while I'm filling. Couldn't tell if that was a horsefly or just a beetle. Turns out it was a beetle. But as I was saying, I try to have a quart in the back, that way I can check it every couple of fill-ups and top up as needed. Alright, so that's done. Usually I'd recommend a filter for this, but I can usually get it in the hole. Now this is a 5-quart container. And I'm going to put most of it in. So, that's 2 quarts left. That's 1 quart left. We'll give it a second to sit. I'll come back in, check it, we'll top it up, and that is how you do an oil change from the top on an R55 Mini Cooper. So I just finished with topping it up. It is 4.4 to 4.5 quarts, or half quart load. Now, there is an oil service light on this car. This one hasn't gone off. A couple of reasons why. One, that was only 1,000 miles on that oil, give or take. That was the first oil change after the rebuild. I wanted to cut that one short. Second one is the oil change interval on this car is like 12 to 15,000 miles. I don't use that interval. I do about 7,500. So, in order to do this, key in the slot, feet
the best variety and
off the brake, off the clutch, if you have one. Push the button. Okay, ignition's on. I'm gonna turn the fan down. Now you hold both of these buttons. Okay, that's the brake fluid light. Oil light. Use the little BC button on the end of the stock and reset. Hold it till the clock goes out. 15,000 miles. Service. General service or inspection. Rear brakes. Front brakes. Brake fluid. Brake fluid's been checked and replaced. So we're going to reset that light. Let's see. Push and hold. Push and hold. Okay, that's reset. Now, everything there looks good. That's how you reset any of those conditional lights that pop on when you start the car. If there's the red symbol in the middle, whether it's the oil, the chassis, a general service, if multiple have tripped off at the same time, all that sort of stuff. So, now we're good. Tap the on-off button, pop the key out, and you're done. So that's how we do a topside oil change on a R55 Mini Cooper Clubman. This will also be the same with an R56 or an R57. The 56 is the two-door non-Clubman, and the 57 is the convertible. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit that like button and please subscribe. We'll have some more stuff coming out with Wraith here shortly.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps me out, and it lets you know when I put something new up. New videos will be going up on Tuesdays or Thursdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. And if I do decide to do live streams, I will try to give 24 hours notice. So hit the subscribe button on the channel, and you'll be notified when I post that stuff too. Hope to see you next time. Sharps out.